Hey guys, I hope everyone's having a great and beautiful day. I think this is going to be like video number 3 for me today, but I like to do them as I go, just so I don't get too mixed up. I actually did a couple things. I didn't do too much as I go this time around, just because I felt like they could all go together in one video. So my last video, I was talking about these garlic bulbs, and I said I was going to figure out how exactly when I planted them, because I just didn't feel as though they were going to survive all that great if I were to automatically put them in the ground, just because we're still getting a little cold here. So I did get a total of 4 garlic bulbs. Just going to show you guys again if you haven't seen the other video. So these are my last 3. I'm not going to plant them right away. I kind of want to just test the waters and put them in this Jiffy fairy moss thing. So it says fairy moss when you buy it, but it says Jiffy on the actual container. The companies are probably related in some shape, way, or form, most likely. So I really didn't care all that much, but just wanted to let you know. So it's really cool. It's got like a 3-part system. This part will hold the extra water. It will drain from this. You fill it up with whatever substrate you want to use. Right now I'm using the natural organic seed starting mix by Jiffy. I like using it so far. And then there's a clear top that goes on top of this. And that allows you to not have to water it so much, so you don't end up like over watering your seeds and things of that nature. So I broke one of my first bulbs apart, and I actually was able to get 16 cloves. It's suggested for you to break the cloves apart, plant each one tips up, which I did. I put them gently in the soil, did my best to kind of cover them back up, gave them a little stake, just marked them with common garlic, because I'm not sure if there's any other types of garlics out there, but there probably is, but it is what it is. I did open up one just to get 2 more cloves for this last 2 rows. Not last 2 rows, for this last 2 spots, just because I'm anal and I just wanted to fill that up. So did research, found some companion plants. Green beans and peas will go great with this, and green beans and peas also do great with grapes, and this is actually going to be going in my grape garden. So in about 2 to 3 weeks, these garlics will probably be ready to go into the grape garden. I'm too afraid that we are getting a little bit of cold snaps here and there, that they wouldn't last. These guys are definitely not ready to go in the garden because of the whole cold snap situation. They probably won't be ready to go for like another 3 or 4 weeks. These guys were looking at 2 or 3 weeks. But that's why I love using using these containers, because if I have to prolong it and they do grow outside the containers, I just put them in another pot or plant until they're ready to go in the garden, then transplant them from there, and you just kind of keep reusing it all. I like being able to do things that I could reuse. So I did some Blue Lake garden beans, Alaska peas, and some Kentucky Wonder garden beans. And when I planted my garden beans, I ensured that, let me dig this one up real quick, that I did not put them too deep in the soil, and then I ensured that this little eyelet you see here, all beans have one, is actually going to be upward, or as upward as I can possibly get it. And then I just gently tapped him in there, and going to cover him back up with some soil, just a little bit. Why do I do it? Why am I so anal having to do that? Not sure if you guys ever noticed or not, but that's where the little root is first going to sprout out of. And if that little root is wonky in there, it's going to grow wonky. You might see a corkscrew stem, or stems that come up and out like an L. And when you're transplanting, and you're going to do a lot of transplanting, you can weaken the plant, and it's going to be even harder to stake up when you're staking it up with a very weird, unstraight, unaligned stem and root system. That's why I do it. It helps my transplants proceed better. It helps the plant grow a little bit stronger, and it helps the plant grow a little bit faster, because it's not going to have to move around and tumble around in there every which way to be able to sprout outward. Because what's going to happen is you're going to actually start to see those seed shells pop upward, and then the actual first set of leaves, which is not its true leaves, will pop those seed shells off of it. Now, I ran out of stakes. That's why you see the tape. Tape's also a good method if you don't want to stake right away or your stakes don't fit with the cover on top. Just what each row has. When I am doing a tape method, I ensure that I fill the whole row and I don't go over. If I am going to go over to the next row, that whole row is filled, because sometimes the tape, it's just hard to really be able to mark to say exactly where you left off. So if I did, this has oregano, say I did oregano all the way up to here, I got to figure out how to write that, you know, only those last 2 or 3 have oregano in it, but the rest is something else. So this is all going to go into my grape selection. I'm assuming that the garlic is a good pest repellent, and that's why it grows well with grapes, to help keep those pests off your grapes and your grapevines. I know that the beans definitely help with nitrogen and making a natural fertilizer. Beans also like a little bit of shade, and the grapes will probably produce a nice amount of shade, not too much, not too little, for them to grow. And the Alaska peas, I'm not sure yet. I'm going to have to look more into that, why they do so well with the combo. Maybe it's just because they grow well in the combo. They don't really have anything that helps the combo. They just benefit from the combo. Sometimes companion planting is like that. Now, this set right here is for my peppers. And my pepper box is already done. I'm going to be trimming up some of my pepper leaves, harvesting the last bit off of them, see which plants might make it a little bit longer, maybe start adding some new pepper seeds and growing those as well. We'll figure it out. This is what I did for my peppers. I did some common oregano, some lettuce, onions, Cherokee wax beans. They're actually going to grow yellow. Pretty awesome, I think. Corn and some Russian mammoth sunflowers. Why did I do this combo? So I know that the common oregano and the onions will help provide a little bit of that natural pest repellent, and kind of be able to ensure that the plant's going to stay safe, the peppers are going to stay safe. The lettuce is just one of those things that, if I'm not mistaken, just grow well with this mixture. They just benefit, so they grow better with this mixture. I'm going to do a little bit more research just to make sure that they're not contributing to how everything's growing, or if they're just mainly takers and not really givers. The plants that just grow well, don't really give anything to the combination of sorts, I call those my takers. They just benefit from everything else that's growing. The ones that really do provide a benefit, like the onions for repellent, the oregano for a repellent, those are my givers. Those are my givers. So they get something back in return, but they also give. The Cherokee wax bean, I'm going to show you guys a little seed packet of it. I didn't do them all. I didn't want to do them all. Here's the trick about some green beans. And almost any garden bean out there, you don't want to plant your whole packet. I mean, if you want to plant your whole packet, fine, but in 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to have to plant some more. Once they've produced everything that they've produced, they're not going to produce again. It'll naturally kind of go out. You want to save the pods, and I'll do a video when that time comes, that are the biggest. Do not harvest those biggest pods. Let those pods come to full maturity and die on the vine, because those are the pods that you're going to want to collect your seeds from. They're going to have the best genetics of that plant, which is a good tip to know. And you might get a good handful or a good basket full of beans from that bush, but when that bush is done, it is done. You really won't see anything. There's nothing you could really do to get it to produce more. And the best way to kind of ensure that you're going to have continuous green beans for your season is to plant them with proper spacing. So I did this row today. In about 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to do probably another set and just keep it going from there, because each plant will hit its maturity and be harvestable at different times of the season. And that's really going to help out. I'm excited for them because I've never grown them before, and they're yellow. I love things that are just random colors. So I'm excited. As for the onions, you can't see it, but I have 3 different types of onions in here. And this is something else that I've gotten from the Zyverden bulb root company. And it came with 100 bulbs for $3. You can't knock it. This is what the packaging looks like. Whole bunch of bulbs. You've got yellows, whites, and reds in there. Some of them are really small. Some of them are great sizes. All 100 bulbs may not be able to be used, but it's a good amount for $3, and you'll see how much you'll be able to use as you plant them. So these are just some of the instructions and things that they said, and to make sure that the tips of the bulbs are rooted upwards. Now I know the onions can get put into the garden a little bit earlier. I'm just starting them off in this just to give them a little bit of protection and just to get it going. I will be doing more than this, but this is just my first little trial just to see if they did well, just so I can have some onions ready a little bit earlier than me probably planting this whole thing in the planter box and then losing a whole bunch because we're still having our cold snaps. The Cherokee beans are next. We already went over those. One last thing about the company. The company's great. If these guys don't grow, or you feel like, out of this whole bag, like maybe 3 of them grew and you don't like it, they will replace your money. They can't give you a new package. They can't do that. They don't have the means to do that, but they will replace your money. Email them. Look up their stuff on Google. You get their contact information. As long as you take a picture of this package, a picture of this barcode, and a picture of your receipt, save your receipt when you buy them, they will send you a check in the mail to replace your money. So I think that's awesome that these guys have a guarantee. I don't think this guarantee is for like a whole year guarantee, because onions are the type of plant that once you do grow them, it's up to you to harvest them and then be able to pick which ones you want to let come to full maturity and make more onions from that. So this one's more so insured just if it doesn't grow. It's not, I don't believe these ones are insured for a full year like some of the other things that we've been working with that are supposed to naturally come back on its own in a year. Corn and sunflowers. Why corn and sunflowers? Corn adds a lot of nutrients to the ground. Corn grows best with green beans because they help feed each other. And corn will also act as a natural wind blocker, as a natural way to give the plants a little bit of break from the brutal sun that we can sometimes have here in Florida, especially on a hot summer's day. And corn is just delicious. So if it's on the list, why not grow a little bit? Same thing with the sunflowers. I love sunflowers. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful. They're going to want to attract the pollinators to the garden area. They're going to the pollinators are going to get pegged. The bees, the hummingbirds, the butterflies, they're going to see the sunflowers, get attracted to them. They're going to be one of the tallest things in the box besides the corn, obviously. And they're going to peg there, and then they'll flutter around and see everything else that they could potentially pollinate. Awesome, right? Not only do they help attract the pollinators, but they're also going to help attract they're going to help with that sun issue that we have in Florida. Sometimes that brutal hot summer sun is sometimes so hard on plants, even plants that suggest they need 100% full sun. These guys will help give that little bit of a break. And they also add as a natural wind blocker during the time that, we might have a really bad storm. It might be really windy. It will help protect the other plants. Yes, we might lose a sunflower. Yes, we might lose a corn, but at least they'll help. They made that sacrifice, as you can say, for lack of a better words, to help protect these guys. And I think that's awesome. I always try to stick to, when I'm doing these containers, my last thing I'm going to go over is one thing per container. But when you're getting into the smaller seeds, like lettuce seeds, you can see how small that is. It could be a little bit harder. Try to get only about 3 in there. Same thing. These are even harder. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if you get a bajillion in there. Your first go around, kind of a thing. It takes manipulation. You got to figure out how your hands work, what works best for you, things of that nature. But just because you put too much in there isn't a bad thing. I mean, you can still grow really nice, healthy plants, even though they're all in here. When it comes time for transplanting, if all the roots don't look too jumbled up, and I don't think that I can, if I think that I can safely remove the healthiest, strongest plant that I believe is my healthiest, strongest plant safely without damaging it, then I will remove it and then just split it up. So if 3 of these grow and I can safely split them up, then I'll have 3 more plants. not a big deal. Now, I would suggest that you just let Mother Nature take its course when you realize that all three plants are really intertwined. There may not be no safe, effective way to be able to split them, and either all three are going to grow reasonably okay, one might grow better than the others, or one might grow so good that it snuffs out the other two. Just saying, it could happen. You never know. But if there's a way, if you do end up getting more, don't worry. It's not a big thing. You don't have to be too anal about it. You can just let them grow the way they are. You could let them go ahead and try to separate them and see what happens. I mean, it's gardening, right? It's not like we're saving lives here, people. So, and I'm just excited to really be able to document my journey with this, because I think that I'm starting to do better over time, and I want to have a more accurate way of being able to see what I could have done wrong, be able to look back and review. I thought something was one way, then I might have learned something by the next week when it came time to do the next video. So you guys are on this journey with me. If you're not, and I'm just talking to nothing, and these videos are just going to be for me, then the future Crystal is on the journey with me. So I'm excited. This is what I'm going to use for now. Like I said before, onions will probably come out early. The garlic will probably come out early. These guys will stay in here until I know for a fact they will not get like frostbitten or whatever upon mixing them in. So the last thing for me to do is water these guys, and I'm just going to use a misting water bottle to water them and to get this the water and the soil a little wet. The reason why I do that is I ensure that I'm not overly watering and overly pouring. Green bean seeds tend to be a little on the light side. Those tiny seeds are definitely on the super light side, and when you just pour a thing of water, it kind of floods and it will allow the seeds to move around and get a little wonky. So by misting them until the soil is nice and moist, you kind of ensure that the seeds are going to stay in place, which is always a great thing. Because I've had it when I was first learning this out that I was just watering them, and then like half my container was empty and everything was just growing on one side, so, or sporadically throughout the place. So that's just a nice little tidbit too to share. So I hope everyone has a beautiful day. I hope your gardening journey is going just as well. And I'm really excited with these guys. I'm really excited to try out this company and see how well this works in my garden. So everyone, I hope you have a great day. Bye.